Welcome into the Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about the possibility of the Ravens signing Teddy Bridgewater. We also have a roster update for you. Plus, could Malik Harrison be on the way out? We will get to all of that and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, I want to get this show out to as many people as possible. So, Flock, here's what I need you to do. I need you to share today's show. If you click the share button, click the Twitter icon, then click post to Twitter, tag me at Tyler Jones Live. I'll retweet you. In the first 10 people to share today's show, I'm going to follow you back on Twitter because I feel like doing that. So if you can help us, I'll help you, and we'll help each other out. Simple as that, right? So go ahead and share today's show, tag me on Twitter for a retweet, and I'll follow the first 10 people that share today's show, and we certainly would appreciate it. We begin today as we will discuss the possibility of the Ravens adding Theodore Edmund Bridgewater Jr. to their roster. See what I did there? Teddy Bridgewater has been named as a potential signee by ESPN. They're predicting, actually, that it will happen, that the Ravens will bring in the veteran quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, I think, is a guy personally that has shown that he's a very talented quarterback, that he's more than capable, but he's dealt with so many injuries. He's been, I guess you would call, injury-prone over the years, and so that's hindered him from being a full-time starter. But a very good backup, one of the better backups in the league nonetheless. Here's what Bill Barnwell of ESPN had to say about this idea. The Ravens need to boost their number 2 QB role. Tyler Huntley has averaged just 5.8 average yards per attempt as a pro, and the Ravens don't need Bridgewater to be involved in the run game with the move from Greg Roman to Todd Monken. Bringing in Jackson's predecessor at Louisville would allow the Ravens to hold on to the 4th-round comp pick they're set to receive for losing guard Ben Powers in free agency. Teddy, this is a guy that we've seen be a journeyman of sorts in the National Football League, most recently with the Miami Dolphins. Had a decent run there with the Denver Broncos, was at Carolina with Matt Rule, also in New Orleans with Drew Brees there, also was with the Jets and the Vikings, just to name the teams that he's been with at this point. And we mentioned that he's shown flashes, right? You go back to 2015, he was a Pro Bowler. 2014, he was on the all-rookie team, and we saw him set all sorts of records when he was in Minnesota, in particular the rookie records there, his time with the Vikings. And the numbers from Teddy Bridgewater, let's show you these of what we've seen as of late from Teddy. You can see last year, in 5 games played, he had a 62% completion percentage, threw for a little less than 700 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. 2021, in 14 games played, had 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. 2020 had 15 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. In 2019, 9 touchdowns, 2 picks. And the completion percentage, all very favorable for Teddy in those last 4 years. Now, for me, what this comes down to, of the idea of whether to bring in Teddy Bridgewater or not, or really any quarterback for that matter, now that you have Lamar locked up, is a question that Todd Monken, your new offensive coordinator, has to ask. Is Todd Monken confident in Tyler Huntley? If he's confident in Tyler Huntley, believes that he's the right guy to fill in if something were to happen to Lamar Jackson, we've seen Lamar miss 10 games the last 2 seasons, then you don't need to make a move. Then you don't need to add a guy like Teddy Bridgewater. But if Todd Monken feels that, you know what, I'm not sold on Tyler Huntley, I need a veteran quarterback to lead this offense, you're not going to find anyone better out there than Teddy Bridgewater personally. Bridgewater makes a lot of sense, and if you're the Ravens, think about this. You are in a very tough division there in the AFC North, where every single game matters. And if Lamar is going to miss a game or 2, Teddy has shown that he's more than capable of filling in and winning that game or 2 that might be the difference in making the postseason or missing the postseason. So I totally get why you would want to sign Teddy Bridgewater potentially. Should Baltimore sign Teddy? This is our pin comment today. You might get an ad break, if so, take advantage of it. Tell me what you think. Why for yes, in for no? Should the Ravens sign Teddy Bridgewater or not? Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Next up, a roster update for you. The Ravens have signed center Sam Mustipher, formerly of the Chicago Bears, to a one-year deal as he will fill a backup role behind Tyler Linderbaum at the center position. Now, Mustipher, not that great as a starter over the last few seasons. He started 40 games in that stretch, and you can see the PFF grades were nothing to write home about. A 63.4 overall grade, 55.1 pass block grade, 65.5 run block grade. A lot of frustration from Bears fans at what they saw from Mustipher in all those games that he started. But in this role with the Baltimore Ravens, you're looking at a more than capable backup. Kind of like what we talked about with Teddy Bridgewater, right? Where maybe I don't necessarily want Teddy, I don't trust him to be my full-time starter, but more than capable of being the backup. We've seen Tyler Linderbaum already deal with a few injuries here and there in his first year in Baltimore. If Sam Mustipher needs to come in and fill that void for Tyler Linderbaum or be a rotational piece on the offensive line, he's more than capable of it. And I know what some of you may be thinking. You might be a little frustrated. Why Sam Mustipher when, of all the guys that were potentially out there or some of the needs that you might be wanting to cover? But think about this. This was a necessary deal for the Ravens to do. Making him a backup and bringing him in there. You're not asking him to be a starter. The Ravens filled a need. Maybe it wasn't their highest priority need, but it was a need nonetheless. I'm fine with this. This makes a lot of sense for the Ravens. Parker Hurley of Ebony Bird did a really good job putting this into perspective, breaking down the signing, and this is what Parker had to say. If you view Mustipher as a starter, you have issues. Once you change the expectations, the experience becomes pretty valuable. When you look at the Baltimore Ravens roster, they need a backup center if anything would happen to Tyler Linderbaum. So there you have it. Same thing, kind of like what I was saying there with just like what Parker alludes to here, where Mustipher is fine to be that guy to back up, but you don't want him to be your starter. It fills what Baltimore's looking for. I'm more than okay with the signing. It's a cheap deal. Everything's okay as far as I'm concerned. Grade the signing for me. What do you think of what Baltimore did here? A, B, C, D, or F, this move to sign Sam Mustipher. Let me know in the comment section what your grade would be. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you think. One final note before we wrap up today. Bleacher Report has named Ravens linebacker Malik Harrison as a top cut candidate to potentially move on from. Remember, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about Malik Harrison. Optimistic, right? He was a former third-round pick just a few years ago. Seemed like that there was a lot of hype about Malik Harrison of what he could potentially do in the National Football League. And if we're going to be honest with ourselves here, he's kind of left a lot to be desired. Has not lived up to set hype and potential of what was expected of him when he entered the league and joined the Ravens. With that said, here's more from Bleacher Report on why Malik Harrison could be cut. The Ravens drafted Trenton Simpson and linebackers Christian Welch and Delshon Phillips, like Harrison, are core special teamers. If the team needs a roster slot and is comfortable with Simpson's readiness, Harrison could be the odd backer out. Now, here's one thing that's worth noting. When you look at this scenario that's painted up here of potentially moving on from Malik Harrison, is that it doesn't really save you that much against the cap. Just about $1.1 million is all. Is that really worth it? To me, it comes down to the roster spot. It's not a money issue, but it's all about the roster spot or not. Are you better served with Malik Harrison or someone else in that role? Harrison, right now, would be a backup linebacker, a second or third string guy, mostly used on special teams. And we've seen that he's, been kind of in and out, right? You go back to 2021 when he suffered a non-life-threatening injury off the football field after being shot. He's gone through some things. And so that will be something to follow to see if the Ravens will keep Malik Harrison or not on their roster. Who is a player you think the Ravens should cut, whether it's Malik Harrison or somebody else? Let me know in the comments section who you'd like to see the team potentially move on from before they eventually cut that roster down to 53. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. Remember to share the show. Tag me on Twitter. I'll retweet you, follow you back for the first 10 that do so, and I'll see you next time right here on the Ravens Rundown. Thanks for joining us.